Hello and welcome. Thank you all so much for being here. Welcome to another episode of the Empowered Immigrant Live. My name is Otis Landerholm, and thank you so much for being here today. Today, our topic is when is mandamus a bad idea? Okay, and so we'll talk about this topic today, and thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you. It's an honor to be here with you on this beautiful day here in the Bay. All right. So remember, the Empowered Immigrant Live is here to train, teach, inspire, and empower immigrants to make the most out of immigration laws and to make the most out of their lives. So today our theme is when is it a bad idea to file a mandamus claim in federal court? And so we'll talk about that. And as always, I like to ask the question, right? Do you want to get a green card this year? Do you want to come out of the shadows this year? Do you want to apply for some kind of immigration status this year? Is this year your year? Because if so, it's like May of 2024 when I'm recording this right now. The year is going by. And if you want to do something, at least see what your options are. At least see what you might be eligible for. If you want to do that this year, I'd love to help you with it, and let's get to it. All right? My firm is on a mission to win 10,000 immigration cases in the next 10 years. We would love for your case to be one of them. Now, I'm going to jump in and start talking about when is mandamus a bad idea. And as I'm talking, if you have questions, you want to submit them, hey, please submit them. I'll do the best I can to answer your questions here live right now. All right? And so as always, I'll start with the basics, all right? So did you know that immigration has a duty to adjudicate their cases? And that you can actually file a lawsuit when immigration fails to reasonably adjudicate your case. So you can do that. And so let's do it. Lawyer, yes, absolutely, let's go for it. Well, wait a minute, right? Wait a minute. Sometimes it's not wise to do it. All right, so today we're going to be talking about when is it not wise to file that type of mandamus action. And so to kind of put ourselves in that space, right? First of all, imagine that you filed for your green card, you filed for asylum, you filed for whatever immigration status you're requesting, citizenship, for example. And imagine that your immigration case is delayed, and it feels like it's been taking forever, and you're tired of waiting, and you want to sue the government, all right? You want to just file that lawsuit because you're tired of waiting, all right? So lawyer, what can I do to get that lawsuit going? When is it wise to do it? When is it not wise to do it? Okay? Well, imagine two scenarios, all right? Imagine two scenarios when it really isn't a wise thing. Scenario number one, all right? Scenario number one is when the delay right now isn't unreasonable yet, okay? Now, the issue here is that it's, you can lose a mandamus case, all right? If the judge looks at the delay and says, the delay is not unreasonable given the constraints on the government right now, and they might review the specific facts of your situation. They might disagree. They might say that the delay is not unreasonable, and so there you would just lose the mandamus, right? You would lose the cost of doing that case. You'd lose your money, in other words, and the judge would just say, no, we're not going to compel the government to make a decision or to move your case forward at this time because the delay is not unreasonable. It doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that your case gets prejudiced, right? That your underlying immigration case necessarily would not be prejudiced. But that's scenario one, where it's like, okay, maybe we filed that request, that mandamus too quickly, right? Maybe we didn't, do all the proper steps, wait for priority, right? Wait for the processing times to be past due do the inquiries and ombudsman requests that we typically would recommend before moving forward with the mandamus action. And by the way, those things are not technically required. Sometimes those processing timelines published by USCIS are not reasonable, all right? And so just because the processing time says what it says doesn't mean you can't win a mandamus case. But if a judge believes or sees that your delay in your situation is not unreasonable, they might deny your request. Okay? And you might lose the lawsuit. So that's the first scenario. Got it? Okay? Not so bad, perhaps. You can still fight your immigration case. It just means that the federal judge isn't going to push immigration anymore at this stage. The second scenario, when filing a mandamus might not be a good idea, is imagine that you win the mandamus and the judge forces the government to issue a decision in your case. And so then USCIS or whichever agency you're suing issues that decision and they deny you. Okay? Well, sometimes that's not what you want. It's like, wait, I wanted my green card and now I'm losing my case. Sometimes that happens, and that's one of the risks that you want to be clear about before you file the mandamus case. The benefit, right, of having that decision is at least you have clarity. At least you have a written decision. At least you understand where the government's at and what their written language for why, their justification for why they're denying you your benefit. All right? And now that you have that, you can appeal that decision, that denial. You can move to reopen your case. You can take action about it. All right? But it's like you got to know that that's a possibility. And so, sometimes when your case isn't that strong, if you don't have a backup plan or a plan B, or if you're not understanding that you might need to appeal this, it's like, hey, it comes with some kind of risk attached to it. You got to understand what's at stake. Does that make sense? Okay. And so those are the two scenarios that I wanted to discuss today. And this is why, before you enter a case like this, the best advice is to first request and review all the records. All right? You want to make sure that your immigration case was strongly presented, was ready for adjudication. You want to make sure you've got your arguments well defined and well argued, well presented. Okay? Because if the government takes that next step, if they schedule you for an interview, you want your case ready and you want your case to be approvable. You don't want to have to go back and try to correct problems or try to be submitting additional documentation or evidence in support of your case at that time. No, review all those records and know where your case is at before going through the mandamus process. Okay? And when you review those records, and then you want to make sure it is a case that you really do want to push. Okay? Sometimes I say, hey, don't push this case if you're going to lose it. Sometimes it's not worth doing. So anyway, if you're frustrated with the delays in your immigration case, and if you want to do something about it, start by requesting your full record. And if you are in that situation, hey, my office is here to help. We'd love to help you. Okay? And then after reviewing all those records, now you can enter a process with both eyes open. You can see what the positives and negatives, what the risks and the benefits would be, the pros and cons would be of filing a mandamus case and of pushing the government to issue you a decision. Okay? So that's really what I wanted to leave you with today. And so if you have any questions, please submit your questions. Let me know. And we're moving pretty quickly. through the material today, which is fine. And so let me know, and I'll give you a minute to ask me any questions you have about your immigration situation or about the Mandamus lawsuit process, which we've been discussing today. And while you're doing that, I'll share my empowerment tip for today. My empowerment tip is examine your habits. All right, I went for my morning jog this morning like I do every morning. And it's like, for me, the morning routine is critical to setting my day up well. And a morning jog is an opportunity for me to just clear my head. All right? And it's a habit that helps me. And some habits will serve you and some won't. Right? Some will help you, some will harm you. So my empowerment tip today is, hey, make a decision, change or delete habits that are not serving you, and make a decision to add habits that are going to be better for you and will improve whatever area of your life you want to improve. And doing that, like the habits that, putting in place the habits that will serve us, will really improve the quality of our life. And so that's my empowerment tip today. And yeah, and I hope that you take that on. I don't see that I've received any questions. Oh, wait a second. There's one here. Tiffany, thank you for asking your question. You say, my husband was deported 10 years ago. He was arrested for violence, and he made 6 years. Can he ask for forgiveness? Good question. Tiffany, thank you for asking your question. The best advice here, if he was deported 10 years ago and if he had a criminal issue, the best advice here is let's start by reviewing all of the records. That's the deportation and immigration court record. It's also the criminal documents, all right? In my office, when we request the records, we request them from at least 5 different agencies, all right? The FBI, the Department of Justice, all right, the immigration court process, OBIM, which is the Office of Biometrics and Identity Management within immigration, which keeps track whenever you get your fingerprints taken, all right? We send your fingerprints to them, and always to USCIS, okay? Sometimes we add Border Patrol if there's ever been an apprehension with Border Patrol. Sometimes we add it with the Department of State and sometimes with ICE. And so those are each of the different agencies to get the full package about what really happened, you know, for in this case, Tiffany, for your husband. And then we can see what options he would have to file a waiver of that deportation order if necessary, or to work with a criminal defense attorney to vacate any conviction that he was found guilty of, right, if necessary. Or if there's an immigration case, you know, if you're a U.S. citizen, Tiffany, you can maybe file a petition for him and then have him go through the waiver process to come back into the U.S. So yeah, I hope that's helpful. I would start by requesting all of those records. Awesome. And then I see another question here, Alec B. Alec B, always great to see you. Thank you so much, and good morning. So your question is, if I file a mandamus action on a delayed case, is it guaranteed that my situation will get resolved in a reasonable amount of time? Or is it just merely that I'll get a decision on my case, not necessarily a favorable one, and the case is an I-485 with an I-130 adjustment of status? So good question. You used the word guarantee, all right? So the correct answer is no. There's no guarantee of anything, right? In the law, it's always dependent on judges. It's always dependent on officers. There's never a guaranteeable outcome. But that's why lawyers exist, right? Like, this is murky. If it were guaranteeable, you know, you could just file it with in an easy way, and you didn't need to like maximize your chances of winning by having it done very professionally so that you have the best chances possible. There's never a guarantee, but what you want is you want the best chances possible of having your outcome, having the outcome that you want in the timeline that is most favorable for you, and that's why lawyers exist. So, Alec B., sometimes a mandamus is worth doing on an I-485 and on an adjustment of status case. What I recommend is first check the processing times, all right, in your case. If your case is still within normal processing times for your field office, for your I-485, then I would recommend not touching it, all right? Give them the chance that they need and the time that they need to make the adjudication. If you're outside of normal processing times, what I do and what my office does is we do 2 inquiries, all right, and then an ombudsman request with a congressional inquiry, all right? In the ombudsman request and in the congressional inquiry, we document the hardship that you are facing caused by the delay, okay? And if there's still no decision, then move forward with mandamus. All right, now that might seem longer. There might be attorneys out there that do this much quicker, you know, that will file the mandamus action quicker than that. But that's the policy of my firm, and we've had success with it. And so, so if that makes sense for you, then hey, we'd love to help you with that. But yeah, anyway, hope that's useful. Hope that's helpful. So thank you all so much for being here. All right, thank you all so much for being here. And Karelis and Victor, I see you both here on Instagram. Hello to each of you. And yeah, I think that's all I got for today. Picus, I see your question here. Is posing equally problematic as posing on social media? I don't understand this question. I can't answer this question, Picus, because it is not about immigration. All right, it is not about it is not an immigration law question. So sorry about that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate each of you. My name's Otis Landerholm. I'm the founding attorney here at Landerholm Immigration, A.P.C., where we fight for your American dream. If we can help you in any way with your immigration case, with your immigration status, please feel free to reach out, all right? We're just a phone call away, folks. We're just a phone call away. If today's episode was useful, if it was helpful, please go to our channel on YouTube. Please hit the subscribe button, all right? And hit the notifications bell when you do that. And then you can receive a notification whenever we upload additional videos with updates and news and things of that nature. And as always, if you have an immigration case, please give us a call. We are here to help. We would love to help. All right? That's all I got for today. We'll do this episode in Spanish in just a few minutes. My name's Otis Landerholm, Landerholm Immigration, A.P.C., where we fight for your American dream. And we'll see you next time on our next episode of the Empowered Immigrant Live. Thanks a lot. Make it a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.